Welcome everyone to this explainer on the Model Context Protocol, or MCP. Look, if you've been working with AI and large language models recently, you know the absolute headache of fragmented integrations. It's what we call the N by M problem. Basically, if you have N number of AI models and M number of data sources, historically you had to build N times M individual bespoke API wrappers just to get them to talk to each other. Building these one-off connections for every database, local file, or script is just exhausting, and honestly, it's completely unscalable. Well, today we're looking at a groundbreaking open standard that solves exactly that problem by replacing that whole messy web with a single universal standard. I am so thrilled to unpack how it connects AI applications to the external world in detail. Okay, let's dive right in. Here is a quick look at our agenda for today. First, we'll formally meet the Universal AI Standard. Then, we'll break down the architecture of hosts, clients, and servers. After that, we'll look under the hood at the transport and data layers, dive into the core primitives, and wrap up with something absolutely crucial: security and user consent.
All right, Section 1. Let's meet the Universal AI Standard and see how it tackles this integration nightmare.
So, what is it exactly? The Model Context Protocol is an open, standardized protocol that enables seamless integration between LLM applications and external data sources. It completely standardizes the entire context injection process. But what's really important to note here is what MCP doesn't do. It does not dictate how your AI application actually uses its underlying language model, and it doesn't tell the LLM how to manage its context window limits. Not at all. It purely serves as the universal, standardized bridge between the AI and the data.
I really love this analogy. Think of MCP as the USB-C interface for AI agents. Though, thankfully, unlike those early USB cables, you won't have to flip it 3 times to get it to plug in right. It actually takes heavy inspiration from the language server protocol, which, if you remember, standardized how we add programming languages to code editors. In that exact same way, MCP abstracts away all the messy integration details. You just plug in your AI agent, and it instantly knows how to communicate with external tools, regardless of where they actually live.
Moving right along to Section 2, hosts, clients, and servers. Let's map out the MCP architecture.
The whole MCP ecosystem runs on a pretty strict client-server hierarchy, and there are 3 main actors you need to know. First up, you have the MCP host. This is the AI application itself. Think of something like Claude Code, Claude Desktop, or maybe your own custom AI app. The host coordinates everything. Now, to actually talk to the outside world, the host creates an MCP client. The client's sole job is to maintain a dedicated one-to-one connection with an MCP server. And finally, the MCP server is the program actually providing the context or the tools. What's super cool about this is that the server can be local, running right there on the same machine as the host, or it can be remote, running somewhere off in the cloud. The client genuinely doesn't care. It just speaks MCP.
Okay, Section 3, transport and data layers. Let's take a look under the hood at how these parts actually talk. MCP does this brilliant thing where it completely separates the plumbing from the payload. Conceptually, you can think of the transport layer as the outer plumbing. It manages the communication channels and the authentication. If your server is local, it uses standard input/output streams, known as stdio transport, which gives you direct process communication with literally 0 network overhead. But if your server is remote, it uses streamable HTTP transport, which relies on HTTP post and server-send events. Once that outer plumbing is all hooked up, the inner layer, the data layer, takes over. This data layer uses a standardized JSON-RPC 2.0 message format. By doing this, it abstracts the communication details entirely. The messages look exactly the same whether you're talking to a local script on your laptop or a massive cloud database.
Which brings us to Section 4, core primitives. We're talking tools, resources, and prompts.
These server primitives basically define exactly what types of contextual information and actions can be shared, and they fall into 3 core categories. First, we have tools. These are executable functions that your AI can invoke, like running a database query or triggering a script. Second, we have resources. You can think of these as read-only data sources providing deep context, like pulling in the raw contents of a specific file. And finally, we have prompts. These are reusable templates that help structure interactions, like providing a predefined system prompt that includes a few-shot example. And the neat part is, clients dynamically discover exactly what a server is offering using standard list and get methods. But here's the kicker. Communication actually goes both ways, and this is where it gets incredibly powerful. Clients can also expose primitives right back to the servers. This allows server authors to build unbelievably rich interactions without needing to bundle their own bulky LLM SDKs. For example, through sampling, a server can request a language model completion directly from the client's AI application. With elicitation, the server can prompt the actual human user for more information. Routes allow the server to ask the client about safe file system boundaries so it doesn't overreach. And logging lets the server send debug messages right back to the client's interface. It's just a beautifully symmetric system.
Let's make this concrete. Imagine your AI needs a piece of data. Let's walk through exactly how that happens chronologically. First, we start with the initialization exchange. This is basically a capability negotiation handshake, where the client and server agree on a protocol version and declare what features they support. Once they're initialized, we move to tool discovery. The client sends a simple list request, and the server replies with an array of tools. This includes unique names, human-readable titles, descriptions, and the JSON schemas that define the required inputs. Finally, we get to tool execution. The AI decides it needs to use a specific tool, the client sends a structured JSON-RPC call with the right arguments, and the server returns the result right back into the LLM's context window.
And to make this even more robust, MCP fully supports real-time notifications. Because MCP uses JSON-RPC under the hood, a server can push notifications to the client at literally any time without expecting a response. If a server's internal state changes, say a brand new tool suddenly becomes available, it just shoots over a notification. This means your AI agent is always operating with the most up-to-date real-world context, and it does it without wasting valuable compute cycles constantly pulling the server to ask, hey, anything new yet?
Finally, we reach Section 5, Security and Consent. Let's talk trust and safety principles.
Look, because we are granting AI models the ability to execute arbitrary code and read private data, the specification documentation states this explicitly, and I quote, users must explicitly consent to and understand all data access and operations. MCP provides an amazing standardized bridge to pass data and execute tools, but it is entirely up to the host application to provide the actual safety checkpoints. The protocol itself doesn't enforce safety, your implementation absolutely must.
So, as a developer implementing this, you must adhere to strict trust and safety principles. You've got to build robust, clear consent flows before invoking any tool. You must protect user data privacy, meaning never exposing resources without clear permission. Actually, you should even treat tool descriptions from the server as untrusted inputs, because they ultimately represent arbitrary code execution. Furthermore, if you are going to allow server-side LLM sampling, you have to explicitly prompt users to approve exactly what data is being sent and what results the server is allowed to see.
It is honestly incredible to see how rapidly this protocol is evolving to meet what the community needs. The initial stable release only just hit in November 2024. By June 2025, the specification had already added highly requested features like structured tool output and resource links. And the most recent update in November 2025 brought some massive upgrades, including OpenID Connect and OAuth Discovery for authentication, UI icons for primitives, and even experimental support for durable tasks, which allows for long-running, multi-step operations to be tracked easily.
Wow, okay, we've covered a ton of ground today in this explainer, from the basic architecture of hosts, clients, and servers, all the way down to the specific JSON-RPC primitives that make context sharing so seamless. Just imagine a world completely free of that N by M integration nightmare, where your AI agent just plugs into a universal standard and gets right to work. So I'll leave you with this question to chew on. How will standardizing AI context via MCP transform the tools you are building today? I highly encourage you to go dive into the open source SDKs and try building your very first MCP server. It's a real game changer. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and happy building.